You're listening to WWSU 106.9 FM, Fairborn, Dayton, Dayton's right choice.
We're all working men around here.
Well, if you don't like my show, don't curse your radio. You know that no one likes my company anyway. But if you listen closely and talk intelligently, then maybe you can be a disappointment.
The views and opinions of the Disappointing radio show do not reflect the views and opinions of WWSU Radio, Wright State University, nor their entities. And now that our formalities are out of our way, this is a very spooky night, ghouls and girls at home, for today is Halloween! Woo! And today's guest is a legend of Dayton. I can't keep doing the voice. It's going to kill me. Listen, this comic is a one of a kind. She was there my first night of comedy. She got to see the craziness that was Brighton Jones for the first time, and probably, like many other people, wished she wasn't there. But let's give it up for our first guest and our only guest today. Maybe Patrick will migrate in and out. I can't be certain of that. Please tell everybody your name at home, and then I will tell them what you mean to me.
Hi, everybody. My name's Holly Shock, and I'm very disappointed to be here.
Yeah,
Yay.
There we go. We got a disappointing already.
Oops.
This is a very specific show because, one, it's Halloween. Happy Halloween. Happy holidays.
Happy Halloween to you, too.
To everybody that's listening at home,
Everybody.
Spotify, however you're enjoying this.
Radioland.
You know, if this is out of date for you, I don't have to tell you. It's a Halloween episode. It's spooky.
Ooh,
Right?
mysterious.
And I want to talk about some stuff that I think a lot of people kind of get sheltered away from or are scared a little bit. And I think what's scarier on Halloween than talking about people who are transgender and talking about things that are not brought up from the most famous politicians in any country, because it's something scary and you don't want to say the wrong thing because then everybody hates you. But hey, this is the Disappointing Radio Show. I'm a comedian. Everybody hates me for both of those reasons.
Ta-da!
So let's just keep digging the hole, right?
Ta-da!
You're
You
good.
are our transmission specialist.
You know what? I've been trying to gauge, because I listened to a little bit of the episode that Dawn did with you, and I've got to say, to me, you're kind of like a human, what do you call it? Like a sound button pad with like a million buttons, and you've got all these little background like all those little things. It's very nice, and it's good radio banter, and it's good you know what I mean? It's like it's almost in your genes just to be all over the place, because that's how I am. So I appreciate that. Because
I haven't worn jeans in a long time.
What are our jeans? I don't even wear underwear nowadays. It's nothing but skirts and thongs.
It's not a skirt. It's a kilt, man. It's a kilt.
You know, Patrick wears kilts sometimes around the office.
I like kilts.
I have some friends back home. His name's Stinson, kind of a biker dude. He wears kilts, and he's the kind of guy that you would never in your life say, "Why do you have a kilt on?" Because I'm very confident somehow he would still have his holster under that kilt and blow you away for saying so. So I don't think it's like a thing of feminicity. I think it's more of a thing of I don't know.
I mean, it's a Scottish heritage, you know?
Yeah,
so.
but in today's age, people don't view it as such because they're. I don't know if it's coming from a place of uneducation or it's coming from a place of I don't know, easy humor or whatever it is. But it's just there's a skirt, there's a girl.
Well, if it was like a spandex kilt, I could understand or something like that. Then yeah, that's one of those other outlanders.
Someone at home says it's spooky season, boys. I didn't read your name because I don't feel like it. How's that? General public. That's how we care about this. This is a Disappointing Radio Show. If you thought we were gonna like you, then you're sorely disappointed.
Yay.
And we're first burp of the show. We're doing our point. You know what I mean? We let them
shot per burp, folks.
Yeah. This could be a good Halloween game. Everybody at home is for every burp at home and every time we bring up something racist. Take a shot. By the end of the night, you will have alcohol sickness because usually we talk about the N-word on the show, but we're not going to today.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're not because we have because there's other scarier topics to talk about. We've done our N-word episodes.
I'm pretty much scary as it is. So
no, you're amazing. You were there the first night I ever did stand-up, and I cannot even tell you how petrified I was.
And you know, I mean, you were great.
That's so nice of you.
We were both
I don't know if you generally remember the set or not, but that's generally nice of you to say because you're one of the.
It takes me a while to filter all the stuff out, you know, from the 60s.
The acid trips really put it on me.
They were, man. I had some good stuff. I went the right state. when there was like about 5 buildings, and I majored in Frisbee. So
That's amazing. My dad went here when there was a bar here, and you could go.
yeah.
You could go
The Rat
here.
Cellar.
Yeah, and it was right there, or like under the stairs or something like that. My dad was like, "Yeah, you could go there. I would drink with my teachers, smoke some cigarettes with them, talk about stuff,
Cigarettes,
baseball." And I was like, "Yeah, cigarettes, Dad." And he goes, "Well, back then." And I was like, "Well,
back then it was really
it was Mexican tobacco." And it's like, Dad, that's just a racist way to say weed. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, go up there, have a few drinks, and then go take philosophy exam. I'll tell you what life's all about.
Oh my goodness, people who message in are my favorite people. I can't diss the audience too much.
What are they saying?
We've got from the brown part of the banana.
Okay.
They just wanted us to read their name. They were like, "How dare you disrespect me? It's spooky season." It's that person with the same message. I didn't read their name. They decided to message again because they just felt that they picked the brown part of the banana, and for some reason, that was the best nickname they could come up with. I don't even remember the last time anyone ever brought that up in a general conversation.
No.
The brown part of the banana. Hey, you know what? You know how I feel on a Monday morning? Remember the brown part of a banana when it's due out?
My question is, was the banana brown, or did he do something to make the banana brown?
Yeah, like what led to the banana browning? Was it up an arse? Was it in the dirt? Was
you gotta think the gerbil.
Did you just mash it? What's going on here?
Mashing gerbil bananas.
Just smashing the bananas.
With
And
gerbils.
so the reason I bring it up is because when you did your set that night, that blew me away. Because I was like, I didn't know what to expect. Because I'm looking at all these different people, and I'm like, all right, there's a lot of 45-year-old white dudes here. Cool. No one my age. Right. Anxiety setting in. A couple people that are a little bit old. And then you came in, and I was like, what is happening? Not to be disrespectful, but I was like, your personality, I love it. Because you in it's yourself is just comedy to me. Not to be mean by that, but like to me,
I know.
you should be one of the people who's already have made it and like been super famous and been like the transgender comic and be like the like spooky girl and like the like stuff like
You
that.
got the spooky part.
You've got
right.
the energy. You flaunt it profusely, and it's so nice.
It's so fun to do. It's just fun to do. I like, and and you said that was me, and then it was amazing. We were both on the same night that Ryan
Ryan
Niemiller, the guy that came in third.
Man with no arms but a few fingers.
Yeah, and he came in
Cripple
third,
threat, as he likes to be known on
America's
Twitter.
Got Talent.
And that was
We were on
crazy.
the show with him.
But
That's
that makes
what
me
I
feel
love.
like, was I good enough?
Yeah, that was great.
Does
That was
it?
your
I don't
that was
say
your
that, 'cause
First, that was
that-
your first time too.
Aw.
So yeah, that was cool. I mean, you were good. You were good. You did solid. Every once in a while, it's funny because
That's generally nice to hear because I don't hear that from any comics. And I'm gonna make that soundbite my ringtone. Like, you were good. It'll just be like, yes. Oh, it's like sweet black tar heroin
And
right to the vein.
And that's it. The more you do it, the more you get into it, and the more you want to do it.
Well, for me, it's like, I don't know why other people do it, but I assume everybody does it for my same reasoning, and then I get into conflicts because then I realize people aren't doing it for the same reasons. Because to me, comedy is this chance as a job and as a hobby to just exist on stage hours at a time, and everybody in the room, no matter where they were born, no matter what color they are, no matter what their agenda is after or before this show, they're just laughing. Nobody's getting hurt.
it's
Nobody's dying.
unifying.
And it really makes you feel like you're all on the same page, kind of. Like, to me, it's not like everybody's looking up at the guy on the stage. If anything, the guy's bringing everybody up on the stage with him mentally.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're all there in that cesspool of weirdness.
Yeah, you got it right there. It's a unifying factor of everybody coming in just to have, people just don't know how to have a good time or just to relax and have a good time anymore. And comedy clubs help do that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a
I
lot of
understand
things
that
you can
too.
do for fun, but a lot of the stuff I watch, I can say kids. To me, anybody below 50 is a kid. When I watch some people,
ask a lady her age on this show, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for me to watch that night Fortnite went off, and everybody was like,
See, that was amazing to me because as a person of intellectual knowledge from a tech base, I saw immediately what was going to happen. I was like, yeah, they're doing that, but they're going to come back with something even crazier to hook everyone because that's the whole point of drugs. You know,
yeah.
Internet games, that's a drug. fashion, that's a drug. Everything's the same thing.
Yeah.
You just have to label it as such.
But just the idea of turning it off.
Yeah, it was just so funny. Just
I don't have any
because
control.
just for a day, all of like probably 8-year-olds in the world cried, and for some reason that made me smile a little bit. Because to me, that meant a lot of 8-year-olds that day grew up a little bit. They were like, "Oh, it came back," and it's like, "Hey, nothing's impossible."
Oh no! It came back.
You know what I mean?
And maybe they actually walked outside and looked at it. That's a plant. That's a flower.
Like, to me, they had a really great opportunity to do something that would have earned the respect of everyone around the globe that even didn't like Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like, they could have came back with like a tribute to Mr. Rogers and like, I don't know, Carl Sagan, someone of like that teaching background. Because think of all the 8-year-olds and like little kids that play Fortnite. You had a chance to teach them something crazy. They were probably watching that screen until the moment it flickered back.
Oh, yeah.
You could have came back with like the first episode of Mr. Like Rogers' Neighborhood or Carl Sagan's Cosmos or something like Bill Nye, whatever you want to do. End of sentence. Teach kids science. No more religion. I'm over it. I don't understand how we even are allowed to bring up religion in any school. It just doesn't have a point to me. Like, my mom's religious, my dad's religious, my sister's religious. Just to me, I just think, I don't know what it is, but it doesn't make sense to me. Like, where's your physical proof? And people are like, you can prove he was here. First of all, I have asked multiple times to carbon date the blood on his crown, and you keep telling me no. Why? Yeah. That's the first. I mean, really, let's break down the science of it. I don't know. I'm not trying to belittle religion. I'm just saying, don't make things out to be what they're not. What if Jesus was a stoner? And he was the first guy to discover mushrooms. And he was like, I am going to blow the D-holes off of my friends, take them down to the lake, be like, hey, Jesus, what's up? Eat these shrooms, my child. I am God. And then they tripped really hard, and they thought he was walking on water. And they were like, this is my Lord.
I tried a lot of shrooms. I never tried the Israeli shroom.
No Pakistani.
Nope.
There needs to be a P word.
Stuff from Pakistani. From the opate.
That's funny.
From back in the day.
I asked my grandpa once, not which, because I have many grandpas, so I think that's a good blanket statement. One of my grandpas told me once he did peyote, and that was one of the best stories I've ever heard in my life.
That was my Breakfast of Champions one.
That was my personal breakfast club.
Yeah.
That was the epiphany of my life, is what you're telling me.
Peyote, if I was going to, if I had a week off or that, I got a friend in Arizona.
You had a whole week to kill, and you were like, I'm just going to take it on Wednesday
I would go out
see
to
how
Smoky
long.
Mountains or something.
Yeah.
Peyote out and watch really interesting things I don't know what else.
It's so funny that you say that, because my dad's friend, who shall not be named, I asked him once, I was like, what do you do? Because you're kind of older, and I know you used to be a stoner and stuff like that, and you lived through the 70s and all that crap. Like, as a person of your age, do you ever have a desire to do that stuff again? And he's like, I'll be straight with you. If someone ever offered me a joint in today's age, even from a dispensary, if I knew it was legit, I'd probably say no. I just don't need that in my life, and I don't feel the need to have that THC. It's nice, but I don't need it now. And then not 2 seconds go by, he goes, but if anybody had any mushrooms, I would take those straight. I would not even put them on anything. Mushrooms are amazing. And I was like, whoa, that is terrible advice to give a 14-year-old. I have no idea what to do from now on.
Yeah. Son, this box is for you in 30 years.
Yeah.
Do not open
it if you feel a midlife crisis or the need to buy a motorcycle.
Yeah. That would be it. Yeah, a motorcycle.
I think yeah. I don't know. This show is all over the place. This is every episode. I never know where this is going, and the conversation always ping-pongs around.
I don't,
I think it comes from the dark atmosphere of we don't have the lights on. It's Halloween. It's just us talking. And to me, I bring people on that, in my opinion, I could either see doing stand-up, or could at least I could bring on stage, and that could be an act. That could be a whole bit. Is me in the chair, them in the other chair. The conversation is good enough. I've graded the value of my guests enough to be you're good enough. You can banter. Your conversation, you can wield that sword of word and slash through the time of boring and create funny. Yeah, you like that?
I like that.
See, I've been listening to a lot
of the days of our lives.
I've been listening to a lot of Wu-Tang Clan recently, and it's helping my brain with a lot of words and associations with imagery to there's something about the way they name their albums. One of them is called The Liquid Sword, and there's something about that's whoa. swords are literally always solid. So the ability to manipulate one that is of a liquid and for it to do some kind of damage is godly.
Oh,
and that's the level you're trying to put on that music. And that's a thought that they spiral, even just for a second. That's crazy. That in that relation of craziness, mind-blowingness, love, came from some dudes from New York. Some just young black kids that just wanted to get out of the ghetto. And then it gets me upset when people are like, why do you like rap? It's not important. It's a stupid genre. I opened my eyes and saw the boldness that was all music. And realized there's very rich history in everything.
That's
just how everyone's like,
started over 30 years ago.
There's no history. Soul and blues are where the history, because they were slaves and they were coming back as oppressed people. And
okay, people now are oppressed. People now are wronged. They are getting it out through song and rap.
Yeah.
Listen, it's there. I don't know what more to tell you. Biggie told the story of a black kid who sold drugs that just wanted money, and now he's a rapper, and now he doesn't have to. And then he told the story of all the gangster stuff he did. Tupac told the story of being shot multiple times, surviving, contemplating death, being a lyricist. I mean, it just keeps going. I don't know what more to say.
Oh, you're exactly right. And it's been around. People forget how long rap,
and people belittle it and just put it away. It's like it's not there. And I'm like, first of all, if you're gonna suck the chode of every Johnny Cash album, which I do, I love Johnny Cash. I have like 4 photos of him in my room. But that doesn't mean I don't also have a Biggie and Tupac poster above my computer. That doesn't also mean I don't have a Chris Stapleton poster and a Hank Williams Jr. poster and then a Pink Floyd poster. Like music is music. If it's just good, it's good.
If it's good. If you like it, you like it. That's it. Because it's something you can relate to in your life.
It's kind of, and that's how I feel about comedy. If you're funny, you'll just survive. If you're not, you just won't. There's literally it's the only environment that perfectly in the same moment of a joke being created on stage, it's being filtered out as whether it's funny or not.
Oh yeah,
isn't that crazy? There's no other response to that. Even in computer times, it takes time to get the data and then analyze it.
Oh yeah, it's exact. It's like. You get your result as soon as you say it, and then you can...
And you have to build off that, and you have to react. So that's why I'm like, secretly, I think comedians are like some of the smartest people. Because they really think the most. And they really have to... I mean, if something's not funny, you have to, say something else. Make it funny. Keep going. You can't just die on stage and not say anything for the next hour and live in that turmoil. You have to
it's like... Yeah, it is. Because it's like you're the movie, you're the screen, and the people are watching you.
Right.
So,
and you have to build them the story.
Yeah, you have to build them the story.
But the best storytellers could literally build you a character, something happen, and literally kill them, and the death be hilarious. And you could love them by the first of that. Why is the death funny? A comedian made death funny. Everybody, think of how many people fear death. Even for a second, if you can laugh at it, that's coming to terms with it, because it's going to happen to everybody. But whether or not what happens after that is no one's business to determine. And that's why I'm over this whole religion thing. Whatever you want to believe, fine. But I don't think everybody should get tax breaks. I don't think this. I don't think you should get... Because no one knows. No one really knows. Because not one person in today's age has gone on the other side with proof, come back from the other side with proof, and said, this is what happens. Yeah. And until that happens, I don't care what Mormon book you have in your belt on campus and you're coming up to me while I'm in between classes, I will wreck you by saying I'm a Buddha and you not knowing how to understand that. Because they've shut down. They're like, oh, Buddhist. Because usually they're just, I'm not religious. Like, blah, blah, blah. They're not ready for someone that has a religion that's something they don't know a lot about. And they're like, he was just a man in a cave. And I'm like, isn't that the whole point of Christ? Is that there was a man in a cave and then he came back after 3 days? What is this argument? We both came from caves.
Our family, my mom and dad, see now this is like back in the 60s too.
Tell me.
We had a very, very interesting life, and our family was kind of isolated. My dad was Catholic, but he was a very open-minded Catholic, and my mom became Catholic just by name only to marry my dad, because you still have to do that technically, I think, in the Catholic Church.
See, that kind of stuff, that doesn't even make sense to me.
My mother, for lack of a better term, my sister and me were talking, they both have passed away a while. My sister and me have been talking about, my mother was a Wiccan.
Yeah.
So
I love that, first of all.
And
should we explain for anyone at home? I'm already on the same page. Like, Wiccans, awesome.
And she did that. She worked on numerology, all this stuff, and people around could not understand why my dad was married to my mom.
Yeah.
because
That's the perfect little combination.
yeah.
That's like the good and the bad.
Oh,
You
that
really
was
are a byproduct of both sides. Because literally, when I first met you, I was like, this person just has energy out the wazoo. And I don't know if it's like maybe I'm watching too much anime thing, but I feel like now you can just kind of, in comedy, I've gained this vision, this sense of like, I can just talk to you and kind of tell like, you're bleeding comedy. You're sweating funny. I can see it out of your aura. Like, you are in the embodiment of that character. And like, I don't know. Some of those comics, when you talk to them behind stage, they're terrible conversation. But then they're kind of funny. So then it's like, well, maybe I'm wrong. And then who's right? You know what I mean?
No, I've always been extroverted.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just looking too much into it.
Well, not too much. Like I was telling you before the show, like I really got put down a lot. Not for being transgender, but for being left-handed back in the 50s and early 60s.
Oh, my goodness. Please tell that story, because you had me rolling when you were telling me that story off the air.
Now, I'm 66, people, so if you know anybody in their 60s that's left-handed, you can ask them about this.
And they need a rough-landed, left-handed,
Catholic. Well, that was Catholic upbringing, was right hand of God, left hand Satan, according to the Bible. And so whenever I used my left hand, they would slap my hand. The nun, and I won't say her name because she might be alive. Because to me, nuns are
I don't know. At this point, maybe she deserves it.
Nuns are Catholic vampires. They live forever.
Let's get
her. She
her.
was like 90 back then.
Yeah.
So, but and I would take my glasses off, and she'd physically slap me in the face, sit me in the corner. And I got some friends that are right-handed now that were left-handed that are kind of messed up, not in a good way either. And just because they were forced to.
Well, at least I will tell you this. The best comedy and the best everything, just like the best art, comes from pain, comes from reality. And like I told you, that is an infinite well of possibility of jokes and funny and relatability to people who maybe do have a really big religious upbringing. Maybe they've never talked about it out loud. Maybe your joke bridges that gap and they're like, hey, I think I was kind of assaulted a lot as a child, and I think I have some issues with that. Maybe they resolve it and live a better life. Like, that's the power of comedy to me. Like, bridging those gaps of like, oh, maybe I was raped if I really think about it.
Yeah, my mom, that's funny too, because when I come home crying, one day she goes, well, that's freaking it. And she went to the school and goes, we're paying good money to send him this here. If you don't like it, we'll just take him out. And then after that, that was changed.
Can I ask you a question that's kind of scary? But
no.
So, at what point did you always kind of like internally go like, they're saying he, I wish they were saying she?
Oh yeah.
Since like day one.
That because of the. This is really weird for me. Yeah, I've always known.
Kind of always known internally, like.
Yeah, and it's not like knowing. It's not like, wow, you're thinking. It's like, say, you don't get up every morning and go, well, I'm going to be a boy today.
Right. You're just kind of living life.
So,
okay, so if that's your answer, then are you saying maybe was there like a singularity moment when you were like, I'm a girl. I need to be a female. I would be happier as such. Because I think that's the disillusion we should paint for people is like what it really is internally for people. Not to be mean, but people like you to go through because that's a lot. And
and you got to remember, me going through it during the 50s and during the 60s is a lot different than. I mean, it's rough for everybody, but I actually, at the time, I was like, oh well, I'll just be who they want me to be until I moved out. Then I gradually.
So you kind of knew even before you moved out, you were like, just I would like to be something different, but right now it would be kind of hard, and you don't want to deal with the.
Yeah,
It's so funny you bring that up because that's literally how I felt with comedy. My whole life, there was just something that I kind of felt like I did golf my whole life and all this other stuff in high school, and it just never felt right. And everything I was doing, I was just like, this just isn't me, and something's not right. And then as soon as I got here to Wright State, I discovered Wiley's. And the moment I found Wiley's, I was like, oh my God,
I'll be honest
this is
with you,
it.
when I started it 4 years ago, that was the opening for me too, because I've always, I don't want to say, because you always hear, well, people say I'm funny at work, and then that doesn't work out when you go on stage.
Yeah,
but I went, and I just as a lark, my friends went to Blind Bob's, and I went over to the comedy thing, and I watched the open mic, and I go, I'm going to try that. And then right after I did it the first time, I was like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah, this is literally that's how I felt. Oh my God, it's so funny that you say that, because literally, as soon as my feet touched that stage at Wiley's, I was like,
yeah,
this is it. It was just something, the way it felt, like there was like this atmosphere, this bubble that was around me, that it finally felt like you're home almost. Because when I played golf for like 18 years of my existence. That's tiring. Academics, farmer life. Not that I was a farmer, but I lived in the country. It just didn't feel right. It just like being on the stage, just making people laugh, showing them that I took the time to write something funny, or maybe it's just something that comes natural. That's a good feeling.
And there's a special feeling inside the club.
Yeah.
I mean, you go and almost like, I don't want to say fraternity or sorority, but you walk in and you're feeling, the vibe, and you got everybody there with that vibe. And then you look at the walls and see all the wonderful comedians that's been there. That's
the other thing, that there were a lot of famous comedians there.
Yeah, and there's still some coming through.
Yeah, and ones
that are getting developed, like Ryan.
There was one that was there the other day. Adrian Cosby. He was really funny, and he was been on like a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah!
Like, wow, you're like a real comic. And we were sitting there talking backstage, and I was making him laugh, pitching him some jokes, but really it was just me talking with him, and just the fact that like he was laughing for just like a moment. It was like, am I good enough to be where he is or past? Because that's a scary thought, because I don't really like having those thoughts, because I don't think I'm good at anything.
Well, you got to, you got to have a part of your brain that's doing a reality check on what you're doing and that. But most of all, you can't worry about it, because if you worry about it, it's going to stymie.
It's not more of a worry thing. It's just I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because it's not, if it's anything, I don't know
if you want to figure out how you're going, if you are enjoying doing it, and then all of a sudden you're going, well, this is kind of the path I want to keep going with this. That's a good figuring out. If you start really nitpicking, then that's gonna hurt. You don't nitpick, kind of flow, and then it'll lead you. Because as like I said, you'll know, and especially, it's not an insult if people don't like you on stage, because sometimes that's
not at all.
It's not like, I'm not your doing joke. Something they like. It's like, this, I know I can know if I did this to make this flow this way, they might understand this more, and it might be funny to them, as long as and half of it's being convinced. If you are on stage, you're having a good time, not being cocky. Like, here I am.
No, you're there.
And do the mic drop.
Like the best comedians to me, and some of the best comedians in the world get a lot of haze from a lot of like the local comics, and I think it's a jealousy thing out of anything, because some of them, the reason they're famous is because how good they are about, as soon as they're on that stage, they're just like you. They're eye level. They paint the picture to where we're all even. I'm not above you. Let's have a good laugh. I may rise a few times
and
during the stories.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
And then they go, okay, he is human, or she is human, whoever's on stage, or
the best comedians to me paint the show like this. Everybody starts on the ground floor the whole time. Mm-hmm. Throughout the story, that comedian will paint himself above or below that median line of ground, indefinitely, however high or low, and the whole time you're laughing like, you know what I mean? And the whole time you're just in this bliss moment of like, laugh at the jester, laugh at the idiot, make fun of the clown,
and
joke with the comedian. Like the sentence keeps evolving throughout time, and I can't wait to see what the next one is after stand up. But like, to me, stand-up's here to stay, and even though people call it the dying art and it's so hard to make, to me, if you're funny, like really funny, the best comedians live comedy. They are jokes on and off the stage. They are that personality.
And you might have an idea of what you're doing when you go on, but the feedback from the crowd and the feeling of the crowd, I've done it, and a lot of other people I've done it where I've changed everything I did.
Yeah,
right on stage, just because I said something. And
it was
they were
kind of where they were going with it.
Because then you just hit
if that's where
them.
the audience is comfortable to laugh, stay in that comfortability pool of laughter. I don't know what more to say. Listen,
comfortability pool.
We've talked a lot. This has been the first half hour of the show.
Ta-da.
We're about to play the first culture shock sound effects, whatever. I'll get the button at some point. This is a song I very much like, and while it's censored, and that sucks because radio, I hope you all enjoy it. And we'll come back and talk about transgenderism and comedy and more things that are scary for radio, but not for us, because this is a disappointing radio show. And if you thought it wasn't scary, then you would be disappointed. So please enjoy the first culture shock, Notorious B.I.G., Sky's the Limit, from Life's After Death. Please enjoy.
How's everybody doing tonight? I'd like to welcome to the stage the lyrically acclaimed. I like this young man because when he came out with the phrase, he went from ashy to classy. I like that. So everybody in the house, give a warm Round of applause for the notorious B.I.G. The notorious B.I.G., ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for him, y'all. Never been as broke as me. I like that. When I was young, I had 2 pair of leads. Besides that, the pinstripes and the gray. The one I wore on Mondays and Wednesdays. While flirt, I'm sewing tigers on my shirt and alligators. You wanna see the inside? I see you later. Here come the drama. Oh, that's the with the fake. Wow. Why you punch me in my face? Stay in your place. Play your position. Here come my intuition. Go in this pocket. Rob him while his friends watching. Clock it. Here comes respect. His crew's your crew, or they might be next. Look at they man, big man, they never try, so we roll with them, stole with them, I mean loyalty. Put me milks at lunch, the milks with chocolate, the cookies, butter crunch, 88, Oshkosh and blue and white duck, pass the blunt.
Sky is the limit and you know that you keep on, just keep on pressing on. Sky is the limit and you know that you can have what you want, pressing what you want. Sky is the limit and you know that you keep on, just keep on pressing on. Sky is the limit and you know that you can have what you want, be what you want, have what you want, be what you want.
I was ashamed, my crew was lame. I had enough heart for most of them, long as I got stuff for most of them soft. Even when I was wrong, I got my point across. They depicted me the boss. Of course, my orange box cutter make the world go round. Plus some this ain't my homegirls now. Start stacking, dabbled in packing. Nickname Medina, made the scenes, took my Nina. From gym class to English. Passed off and global, the only with a mobile. Can't you see like total? Getting larger and wasting taste. Ain't no telling where this felon is heading. Just in case, keep a shell at the tip of your melon. Clear the space. Your brain was a terrible thing to waste. 88 on gates, snatch initial nameplate, smoke it with real life. Begin to kill us, praying God forgive us for being sinners. Help us out.
Sky is the limit and you know that you keep on, just keep on pressing on. Sky is the limit and you know that you can have what you want, be what you want. Sky is the limit and you know that you keep on, just keep on pressing on. Sky is the limit and you know that you can have what you want, be what you want, have what you want, be what you want.
After realizing to master enterprising, I ain't have to be in school by 10. I then began to encounter with my counterparts on how to burn the block apart. Break it down into sections. By these selections, some use pipes, others use injections. Syringe sold separately. Frank the deputy, quick to grab my Smith and like my was missing. To protect my position, my corner, my layer. While we out here, say the hustler's prayer. If the game shakes me or breaks me, I hope it makes me a better man. Take a better stand, put money in my mom's hand. Get my daughter this college plan, so she don't need no man. Stay far from timid, only make moves when your heart's in it. And live the phrase, sky's the limit. See you chumps on top.
Yeah. Sky is the limit and you know that you keep on, just keep on pressing on. Sky is the limit and you know that you can have what you want, be what you want. Sky is the limit and you know that you keep on, just keep on pressing on. Sky is the limit and you know that you can have what you want, be what you want. Sky is the limit and you know that you keep on, just keep on pressing on. Sky is the limit and you know that you can have what you want, be what you want. Sky is the limit and you know that you keep on, just keep on pressing on. Sky is the limit and you know that you can have what you want, be what you want. If you will keep on pressing on. Sky is the limit and you know that you keep on, just keep on pressing on. Sky is the limit and you know that you can have what you want, be what you want. Sky.
You have crossed the line with me. I've had guys throw barbecues at me. They broke the windows out of my car. They cursed and sworn at me. But the bottom line is I ain't shook. Cause if the right hook comes out, crazy motherfuckers like you get knocked out. Don't be looking me in the eyes, boy. I ain't got no candy for you. No candy. Except for the right hook.
Let's get back to the show before one of you at home catch one of these crazy right hooks, you crazy motherfucker.
Boom, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this song. What do you think about the backs too?
Yeah, that was very good.
Do you like the? Do you know what that first part is from? That obviously African American voice actor / comedian / actor who was. You wouldn't know him like personally, but I'm just saying it was not me. It was a black man in the first part, and then it was me on the second part of that.
Yeah. I kind of figured that part out.
You could kind of tell one was the impression, Brighton. You're not nailing it as hard as you think.
The DNA necessity.
Yeah, we can hear you're white.
But who was? I can't.
It was actor off of Trailer Park Boys. It's a scene to where it's like one of the first 2 seasons to where they're about to fight. And he's just like telling them off. And there was just something about the scene that's really funny to me. But there's no music during that scene.
Oh, okay.
So the music in the background is actually background music I heard once off of a Bob's Burgers episode. And I was like, that's really sweet.
Now, that's one show I really
So I was like, I like those mashings of like beautiful little things. Speaking of that,
very good.
We'll take a second before we start bantering off. I'll play you one of my favorite buttons. I feel like I got to play a different one, though, than the one I was about to press because, this is a good one. I don't know if you've even played this on air. Listen, I make a lot of gay jokes as a straight man because I think it's important to flex every muscle comedically in the brain. And for those of you who are uncomfortable joking about gay stuff, allow me to with this 2-minute button of Brighton Jones is gay.
Hell no, we ain't living with no gay person. Is it Jay? Oh, gay. Sorry. We ain't living with no gay dude. Come on, man.
Shut up. I got problems, all right? I'm supposed to be getting some. Big time. On account of my tragedy. But now, everyone thinks I'm gay.
Who's everyone?
Well, fucking Harlem Globetrotters, for one. Curly, Metal Art. That's why they haven't called.
No one thinks you're gay, Shake. Look, it takes time and hard work to become gay. I mean, you need another person to influence your weak emotions.
You know,
DJ Disappointment.
down in the well. Hold on. Okay, he loves dudes. I'm so busted I'm cutting pictures of a Jeep out of a magazine. Then yesterday, he drew my bath water. And he gave me that look like, hey, I wear running shorts.
It's okay, Shay. Cause whoever you decide that you are, I still gonna love you. But just not in a gay way. Cause God makes all people different sizes and shapes and problems. But he only makes the people he hates gay. That's you. You it, boy. You gay.
No, I'm not. You don't know me.
Hey, Frog, what is gay? What does that mean?
Look, Shake, just because you don't want to admit you like living with a gay person, doesn't mean you can't legally marry in the church.
I know. Wait.
Look, the right thing to do is to accept him for his difference. Or you could just cut his head off, hide the body in the desert. That'd be different.
Wait, why?
Someone's been off the chain again.
Oh, yeah, they've been pretty much common law married for years. It's cool. I don't have a problem with that. I'm fine with it. I don't think it's, constitutional. But, they do whatever they want, as long as they ain't flaunting it out in my yard or nothing. Because, I'm a man.
No, don't lube it up.
Oh, wait.
What's with
There
that?
They're the gay ones.
No pictures.
Hey, where's my money here?
Seen here taking his lover in his arms. You don't have to be gay to like
Brighton Jones.
You just have to be gay to be.
Brighton Jones.
Or to be
Brighton Jones.
You have to be gay.
Oh.
I guess what we're saying here at Channel 5 is
Brighton Jones
is gay. And so is that milkshake.
Wow.
Wow.
That was awesome.
So that's the button.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was. It's kind of like a little movie for people's ears. I like making buttons like that for my my favorite episodes of stuff. And listen, if it wasn't disappointing of a radio show, we wouldn't be on the air.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a white kid that doesn't know his place. But like, I think there's just a lot of things to say in the world. And I think a lot of people are scared to say those things because of where they're from. And I think that's crazy. Because to me, isn't intellectual property the whole point of like anybody can know and say anything?
I
because
think so,
we're
yeah.
all human beings, so why don't we act like it?
Yeah. It's all times are weird times anymore, so.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. All times are weird times. I've never liked when someone's like, why can't you be normal? Or why can't you do that the normal way? First of all, there is no definition of any normal way because the universe is an everlasting, ever-expanding, and ever-changing thing. There is no normal because it's never one thing, you doofus. So why dare you tell me how to wipe tables? They're getting wet. I'm cleaning as fast as I can. Why are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I'm the janitor here.
Yes.
I don't know.
Or the custodian. Yeah.
Someone said that the button was hilarious. So that
the button was very good.
Oh, I like the gay button. Brighton is
I like
gay.
the gay button.
I like the gay
too.
button. I've got some other buttons.
Is it an innie or an outie?
I've got short buttons. I've got little buttons. I've got a button that's kind of long. I'm going to save it for the second part of the show because I've been meaning to play it, and I don't think it's 5 minutes long, and it's called What is Church? And we've been talking a lot about religion, so I wanted to play it. You know what? We've been talking a lot about religion. I'm just going to pull the trigger because I have another button for later.
I like their fried chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong one.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking a lot about religion today. And before we play this button, I'll give Holly a chance to talk because she is my guest, and she is amazing. And I appreciate 1,000,000% you being here. And I also want to take this chance to say, if you want to plug anything, if you're social media person, if you have a show coming up, maybe you're working on a
if I
the
can
movie
turn on
thing.
my Chromebook, I'm pretty good shape.
If you're allowed to talk about that movie thing, that'd be a good thing to plug maybe here.
Yeah, well, on November 9th, I got a show at the Courtyard, Comedy at the Courtyard, and the Courtyard Lounge in Inglewood. It's my first show I put together. It's got a bunch of really good comedians. Dom Smith is on it, too.
He was on the show last week.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good people. And then on the 12th, I'm going to be at a show at the Upfront Lounge in Columbus. It's called Miss Microphone. Long story short, I signed a movie waiver. They're filming this with 17 other women comedians. I'm a transgender, and all these other different women comedians. And that's going to be made into it. They're filming. They did the interviews with us in the beginning, in the middle of the summer, and then right now they're going to be filming our routines, and then that's going to be released as a movie next year. They're already talking about the different film festivals. Oh, me neither. That's going to be pretty cool.
I'm definitely going to have to watch that. If anything, you should ask. He does kind of celebrity movie, like big movie. I was going to say you should ask. What's his name? I don't think it's Mike Wells. It's it's another comedian who does that podcast where they watch movies. If you ever come over to their house, it's him and his wife.
Mike Shea?
Yeah, Mike Shea. I'm so sorry. My name.
Oh no, and I've never seen this podcast, but when you said
I've done 2 episodes for it, and
that sounds like that'd be fun.
It's a fun time every time because literally you have to watch the movie before you do the show, and we'll sit there, we'll have some wine, and watch the movie. It's very funny, and it's always good. And I was like, dude, we should do it. You should ask them to be like, you should do my movie. If you get that movie in hand, you should ask them to do an episode. I would listen to that 10 times over. That'd be a really good episode.
That would be awesome. Yeah, so I'm having a lot of fun, and I probably should put in for open mic again at Wiley's. Haven't done that for a while.
I put in for the last 5 weeks, and I've gotten nothing back.
Well, sometimes it takes me.
But I think they said that it's been full up for a minute. But David put me on a mic for Saturday. I'm going to be at an open mic this weekend.
Oh, where?
Oh God!
Oh God! See, now you bring religion back.
This is actually the first time any guest has asked me to plug something of mine.
Yeah, where are you going to be at?
Yeah, I guess that's probably important to know. I'm going to be at the Spirited Goat Coffee House at Yellow Springs.
Oh, Yellow Springs. Okay, cool.
8 p.m. It's going to be me, Damon Darling Sr., Kevin Rupert, Neil Griffin, and more comedians. So far, all I've heard is all black comedians and me being the only white comedian so far I've heard. And I love crowds like that because my first paid show ever was in the Crown Plaza Hotel at the top in the glass room, and it was an all black crowd, all black comedian lineup, and I was the only white guy there doing
those are fun. I've done
and that was the best moment of my life. I mean, I contemplated saying I contemplated saying nibba. I have to say the altered one for radio, but that word's one we've expressed it on the show, so we're not going to go into it. That's one of my favorite words. Not the first word, but the new word.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, good for you, man. That's great. Yeah, Spirited Goat. Yeah.
Well, hopefully people come out. Well, anyways, like we said, we've been talking about religion, and like she said, we brought up God. So please enjoy this button that I like to call in the audio adventure of What is Church?
Please hold me and keep me. I promise I'll never do bad. I thank you for all the gifts that I ever had. Please take care of me and don't leave me in the lurch. If you do, I promise I'll always go to church. That's a prayer by Dennis Dooley. Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Brule. Welcome back to the show. Today we're going to talk about something pretty fun, kind of boring, church. It's not just a dusty old building, it's a house of God. Is your God a nice God? Is he better than some other guy's God? Genghis? Mohammed? I go to the Church of Santa Claus, but who cares? That's in the house of God, a name of church, with a guy who runs the whole show in this business. I was not allowed to go to church by my mother, Doris Pringle Brule. She put me in a cage on Sunday and fed me raisins.
Well, the raisins are good for you, but now that you're an adult, you can come.
I can't take my eyes off that dang earring you have on. It looks so cool.
Okay, well...
I didn't know a purse could be so cool.
Well, that's the whole point, isn't it? I mean, I'm just an ordinary person like you are.
Mobin, my mama's man, said that wearing earrings is for ladies. What do you think of them apples, Charlie?
Well, they are for ladies, and they're for men, too.
Sounds good to me. What do you do up here?
What do I do up here? Well, we have a sacred meal every Sunday.
Do you serve mashed potatoes and gravy?
Absolutely not. We serve bread and wine.
What about pork chops? Do you have those?
No, I'm sorry. We just have ordinary, sacramental things.
Sounds like a boring supper.
Okay, well, okie dokie.
Can't win them all.
No, I guess you can't.
Let me just ask you straight. Can I be a priest, please?
It would be hard if you don't study.
I have never sinned. Can I be a priest?
You never did anything wrong.
Nope.
You've never stolen anything. Okay, that's good. Have you ever had relationships with ladies that was not your wife, for example?
One time I tried to give her a kiss on Cynthia Drangus. She said no.
Okay, well then...
I passed the test here in the house of God. Didn't make any sense.
Well, then you're right up there with Jesus, I guess.
It's lonely at the top.
It can be. Most of us have done things that we regret later.
I'm a priest too. I could be if I say I am. I don't need to be a priest. I'm a doctor. See you at church, suckers. What if you were sick of praying to Gord and you wanted to really sum this shit up? My next guest is Wizard. Hi.
Hello, Doctor.
Tell me about how to cast a spell on somebody.
Well, you don't cast a spell on somebody so much as you do...
Do you love Satan?
No.
If you don't worship Genghis, you have to worship Satan.
Well,
yes, you do.
I don't think so, because there are so many other gods and goddesses in all of the myths of the world.
Please.
Nope, sorry.
Say you love Satan.
No, I don't love Satan.
Sometimes you're a little devil, aren't you?
Well, perhaps I might be, but
I went to a hip-hop club with Rondon Volante and all his friends. They made me make sex.
I don't know
They
what
gave
to
me
say.
a lot of pills and things to smoke and drink. I put my mouth on a black dingus. Want to smell my finger?
I think I'll pass.
Smells like my rear.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I wouldn't mind smelling your finger.
Right.
Give me a sniff.
Oh, sure. There you go. Probably smells like fried chicken.
Hey, old wizard, let's do a spell.
Hocus pocus dominocus.
Wizard got my brain. So Wizard put a spell on me and I started to feel really bad about all the things I did at Rondon's playpen. Better go see the big man upstairs, have a little talk. Thanks for taking the time to see me, old timer. Pretty neat being up by these pearly gates. I told Gord all the bad things that I did in Rondon's playpen. I chewed on prills, put powder in my nose, sucked on a black dangus till milk came out. Mama. He said, don't worry about it.
Brighton.
Just take it easy, Cheesy. You're just a perfect little flower. Great news. Then Gord gave me a massage with his big hands. Thanks, Gord. You're a good old man.
Ha! And there you are. Pretty good trick, eh?
I went to hell.
You know what Winston Churchill said about that? If you're going through hell, keep going.
You know what the devil said about hell?
What?
Welcome to hell. Who gives a shit for your hell?
I think that's my favorite button that I've ever put together.
I just love
What
that.
is church? I think that perfectly describes what is church. The whole like deep voice for the I don't know. Maybe I think I'm just going crazy.
No, that's like that was a very Mad Dog 2020 voice.
You know who that actor was that does that voice?
No, who?
The guy that is the other stepbrother that's not Will Ferrell.
Oh, okay.
He does a show called Check It Out.
Oh, darn it.
See, his name's hard to remember.
John C. Reilly.
That's, I think, right?
Yeah, John C.
That sounds
Reilly.
right.
That's the guy that does all the films with. He's always with. Yeah, Will Ferrell.
He does
and-
that show, Check It Out, with Tim and Eric on Adult Swim, and it's amazing. And it's like a lost gem that no one watched, and it's so funny. Like, he interviews babies. Like, it.
Oh yeah,
He's
what
I've compared. Have you ever seen the Eric Andre show?
No.
Okay, the Eric Andre show is an African American mixed guy who co-hosted by Hannibal Buress, very funny comedian.
I thought you Hannibal Lecter for a minute. I go, oh
yeah, Halloween, right? They each do the show, and it's supposed to be the world's worst talk show, and like their guests always get upset and uncomfortable, and they just prank. It's crazy, and I would say that is the equivalence. Like the white version of that is Check It Out, and that's what some of those clips are from. I just think it's important that like those really, really, really solid jokes, bits, conversations, those were meant to be shared. I laughed really hard. Okay, let me help you guys all laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't feel any remorse for like using that material a little bit because I mix it myself a little bit and change up some stuff and cut out the in-betweens parts and I don't know. Like I don't know. I just want people to laugh the way I did when I first heard that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's great. I really liked that. That was funny.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We were talking about transgender stuff, and I want to know, do you think being transgender potentially opens you up? I asked this to Damon about being black, so I think it's important to ask about everything. Do you think being transgender allows you a bigger pool of jokes for that specific pool of transgender material because you are transgender, so it's more likely that you could sell a joke about
it's basically like you're saying, it's like, like you said, you talked to Damon. It's like being black, you're open up to being more able to do Afro-American black jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I guess so. So I don't. If it comes up in my brain, I'll write it down. And sometimes I'll go through a phase of like figuring stuff out like that. But I don't.
You don't really source to that.
No, I don't. I go like, all right, here's Transgender Day jokes.
Yeah, it's not really something
but
that,
it's
like,
stuff we can relate to, and sometimes stuff in real life where things happen, and the interesting thing is that I have a lot of fun, and most of the bars. Do a shot, folks.
Yeah, right.
And I go to a lot of what you want to say straight bars, and most of my friends. And
that's funny. We should just call them bars because we should stop labeling. Because I don't think there should be gay bars.
No,
I don't think there should be straight bars. I think there should be bars where guys are more likely to put your penis in their mouth. How about we label it like that?
I'm just saying these are bars that normally a lot of people my calendar.
What if that's what we got rid of was like less gender terms and really we just label things off what people are really wanting out of life is a blowjob. So hey, you want to go to that? More likely to have a guy's mouth on your penis bar, or do you want to get more likely to not have any girl put her mouth on your penis bar because you're overly drunk at the Applebee's?
Oh yeah, that was like, but for me too, it's like my friend Laura's bar. It is fun, and when guys don't know that a man, transgender, it's interesting. That's the stuff that's kind of interesting to write down for jokes because all of a sudden I got a feeling of what,
experience of someone who went on a date with someone who was not what they thought potentially.
Yeah, okay, you bought me 2 drinks. I guess that's all right then for you to put your hand on my ass because I didn't read the whole book yet about 2 drinks for the hand on the ass. And stuff like that.
I definitely I don't know. I feel like the best comedians don't have to live that life to make those jokes.
Oh, no.
But the best comedians know how to put you in that mindset to see through their eyes, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that. I don't know.
It's just making people look at something that they
that
they wouldn't look at before.
Because it's hard for me to do like any transgender material. That's kind of an area of comedy I haven't really explored yet.
Yeah.
But I've immediately explored like gay material. Because it was really funny for some reason for some people. Because I guess I just don't come off as gay, which I'm not gay, so I'm glad I don't. But I have a girlfriend. I promise she's real. Don't make me spiral down this hole again, Mom.
Here's one thing real quick for me.
You're good, yeah.
I worked at a bar called Daiquiri Jack's for 6 years. It was up in Detroit, right in the middle of Ford. It was, and we were open. We had all the good old boys coming in, steel workers. Halloween, I always dressed in drag. Well, the first Halloween I did that. I did a few days before, a few days after. The second Halloween, it was like a month before that. After a while, the guys go, well, then Bill, just dress.
Oh, that's kind of sweet.
Because they know me, too. It's like...
That's kind of a nice, reassurance.
They knew me before they knew, I didn't come out here I am, just deal with it. It's they kind of grew, and they knew the person. Unfortunately, people don't take the time to learn to know the person.
Right.
But at the same time, too, it's just kind of, I'm not going to say here, transgender.
Transgender. Give it a hard transgender.
But most of them just learn to love me.
See, I like that, and I have a friend who's gay. We don't talk much anymore, but he told me that he did the same thing on every Halloween. He would just dress up in drag because it was fun, and it wasn't really like he wanted to be a girl, but it's fun to explore that. And I don't think we should bash people that are trying to explore that because again, it's all just about feeling out your skin. Like for me, not to say that I could have been gay, but I don't know what I was searching for. I just knew I didn't feel right at home. And then when I met comedy and doing it, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is it. This is the mistress I've been looking for." You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I agree.
And then I met my girlfriend, and then I was like, "Well, I guess two's okay."
Yeah, the twosome. And it's it's
twosome.
That's always a plus. And I tell you, it's funny because I don't go out of my way. I stand my ground. Don't get me wrong. I'm not wishy-washy, but I don't go out of my way. But I do have people come up to me after seeing me in comedy and going, and it's not like, I just wear dresses because I kind of feel this way. What should I do? And I'm going and then I'll show them paths to go to, to read more about it or maybe counseling and that. It's because it's when people come up and go, thank you, for doing this. And it's not
it's just the idea
effort.
of seeing someone else be able to do it because they don't have the current strength.
Yeah.
But the idea that comedy can potentially give them that strength.
And not just with transgenderism, with everything in life.
I mean, whatever. That's my whole idea.
Scotty Mays is the most amazing person in the world. He does so much stuff for families of addicts. FOA, families of addicts. And he was a drug addict for a long time. He still struggles with it.
Yeah.
And he's a comedian. He does some of the comedy related to that.
Yeah.
And he does it well, and he has other. And I just admire him so much. And that's someone when they see him on stage, he pulled through, and he's working on it. And it's not like, I'm going to quit this. It's like it's a struggle every day.
It's nice hearing somebody that got on the other end of it that didn't end up in a gutter or someone's dad's dead Facebook post or
so it's amazing
like
how
that.
much of you might not realize as a comedian on stage how much of an influence you have on someone.
I try to imagine that, but at the same time, I'm just trying to have fun.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, and
it's hard to paint that disillusion. Sometimes I spiral into that, oh, crap, what did I just say, and did that have an effect? And I hope it's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Oh, no, you're right. That's the thing. You don't want to think too much. I tell you what, if ignorance was bliss, I'd be the happiest person in the world.
I don't know. I've talked to Damon, I've talked to Don, and I've talked to a lot of different comedians, and I just I'm so weird about a lot of stuff because I've come from a really weird life. People tell me constantly, white people shouldn't make a lot of jokes about the N-word or race or anything like that. But okay, what is then I'm okay to do it. I don't understand what the conversation is then. Because again, I'm here telling you, I'm a white person. I came from a house of multiple cultures. I came from a house of love. And my parents were strict and a little, thick on the verbal abuse sometimes. But it's part of it. You know what I mean? I grew, I cried and I laughed with these guys. So who are you to tell me that they're not my family? And then if they are my family, why can't I say Nibba, what's up? You know what I mean?
Oh,
who are you to say I can't tell my brother how I love him? And I don't know.
Yeah.
It just aggravates the crap out of me because I don't know. Because the world isn't ready for Brighton Jones. Maybe that's what I need to provide.
Oh, no, they'll be accepted.
I don't know. A piece of me thinks that I'm supposed to live this interesting life. A piece also me thinks that to be the best comedian, you have to live your life as a comic. Put yourself in hilarious situations. Bring up hilarious things to strangers. Make your way into the world and do extra things that you wouldn't have to do normally just to I don't know. before I spiral into the weird, we're just going to take a micro break, and then when we come back, we'll talk for a minute. We'll get our second culture shock in, sound effects, whatever, and then we'll play some sweet tunes. We'll come back, finish out the show, and we'll all say, why did we spend a Thursday listening to such a disappointing show?
Aww.
And we will be back in a second. Lovelies.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as Reserve Citizen Airmen.
I am proud to defend our nation.
Proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference.
I am proud to be part of something larger than me.
We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving in the Air Force Reserve. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
I am proud to be a member. I am proud to protect our...
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
AFReserve.com.
You are listening to WWSU 106.9 FM, Fairborn Dayton, Dayton's right choice.
And now, your Right State weather forecast. Here is your midweek and trick-or-treat forecast for October 30th through November 1st. There will be periods of rain Wednesday through Thursday, changing to snow showers Thursday night. Thursday night will be breezy with winds gusting to 40 miles per hour. It will be sunny on Friday. High temperatures Wednesday and Thursday will be in the upper 50s, with temperatures Thursday falling during the day. The high Friday will be in the upper 40s. Low temperatures Wednesday night will be in the mid-50s. Thursday and Friday night will be in the lower 30s. Freezing temperatures are possible for Thursday night and Friday morning. Trick-or-treating forecast for October 31st, 6 to 8 p.m. There will be a chance of rain and it will be breezy. It will be 45 degrees at 6 p.m., 42 degrees at 7 p.m., and 40 degrees at 8 p.m.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
I love this song! I love nachos.
Loving everything? You might be buzzed.
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 30 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
And you know what happens when you don't know your own name? You know what happens when you're not even sure who you was not held inside your arms. And there'll never been a day when you were not who you say you are. Goes forever, it don't matter what I'm walking through. 'Cause no matter where I'm going, there's never been a moment that I was not loved. Scratch that, you're off the hook. You know what happens, strange, straggling strummer, when you interrupt Chris Jericho? You know what happens?
That's Micah Tyler with Never Been a Moment.
You just made the list!
This is WWSC 106.9 FM, the right choice. We play everything, except for the list.
Man, I hate commercials. Don't even say the C word to me. Where that loser Brighton at? Knowing B? He probably out there boxing birds and shiz. Let's get back to it before anyone tunes out. You think anybody's still listening to this crap? You tripping, big dog.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Ta-da!
Made coffee, took dumps, did all the things. I made dumps.
I went to get coffee and I burped, so you got to do a shot now.
Yeah,
that wasn't online.
Yeah, we're keeping the counter's always rolling. You know, the burps never stop. I don't know what to tell you. So like we were talking about before, we spiraled into the break, and we will get to our next culture shock around 9:10. So we'll have a couple minutes to talk. What is, in your opinion, your like favorite thing to make jokes about? Like, do you have a favorite topic to bring out on stage? Do you have like a hidden dagger of comedy that you secretly have on you at all times that you're like, when in doubt, pull this out, slit throats, and
you know what?
I was going to rhyme that, but I couldn't think of a fourth sentence.
You know, when like you say, when you first start, you're trying to just get a groove going. You know, get your groove going in that. But then after a while, then you develop stuff, and you kind of stay your own person, but then you kind of slide here and there with different kind of jokes. And then after a while, when you're doing it for 2 or 3 years, that's when it really all of a sudden it goes, wow, that kind of kicks in and helps me that I did that, because then you might have a crowd where it goes 2 or 3 different ways.
Right.
So that's where that works in really good. But I don't specifically write a joke. I might write a transgender joke. You know, just pop in my head. Well, not even like
just about that. Like maybe you have like a really good
and the theme
like,
thing, and then something else in this way.
Maybe you got a really good like BJ joke, or maybe you got a good
I
joke about macaroni, or some joke that just is so solid, like that it's just worth doing.
Oh yeah, I got a couple. And if I'm doing a routine and for some reason it's not going well, I will do that. I'll go to my.
I do have a signature joke as being a white straight male about getting fingered from a girl. And it being straight because it is a girl.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that whole premise is kind of funny of being like a guy. It's like, so what? It's my butt, and it's her finger, and it's a girl. How is it not straight? And it's like, because you're getting fingered. It's not a man's finger.
No.
And then it's just the whole like spiraling joke of like, did I wipe well enough to even be fingered as a man? Because we don't give girls credit enough, but hey, there's some solid wipers out there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's great. I like that. Yeah, it's a point too where sometimes if a crowd's not going with you, all of a sudden you go, "Wow, you know what they would like," and then you just pop and trap.
Because that's what Dame and me talked about. Like if you were a cowboy or a gunslinger in like the West, and you had a leather strap, and it was like individual bullets in like some of the like, you know what I mean, like not like long rows of bullets, but you have like one bullet and like some space, and then another bullet on your hilt. How many of those bullet jokes do you carry around and with an empty gun, ready to load, like always for sure hits, like bam, butt joke, or like bam, macaroni. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I did that. Cowboys. I just wrote what I'm working on. I tried a couple places. It was just quick. It says that, and I can't actually do the whole thing, but I switched the words to the Oklahoma, da da da, Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, that's funny.
And I sang Brokeback Mountain thing to it. And then when I got done, everybody's going, "Oh my gosh!" And I started laughing. And I go, "And that got me kicked out of the karaoke bar."
And that's why I'm not allowed back at Cheryl Teef's house or something.
Yeah, that's something like that. You start off,
I like that. That's a good bit.
Yeah,
I try to go to every Wiley's every Sunday, and my mom stresses so much, and she's like, "Be careful, it's dangerous." Yeah, there was a shooting. Yeah, it didn't happen at Wiley's. I don't know what to tell you.
There's shootings all over, and it's tragic. I mean, it's terribly tragic. You can't let that.
It is tragic. But you know what? And I said this on air, and I'll say it again. Comedians in Dayton that were probably there that night at that shooting, I will bet my life they wrote some jokes about it that night. Because you know why? Real life trauma is the best source for material, especially if it happened that night and the adrenaline's fresh. Of course you're going to put pen to paper. Don't act like Jerry Seinfeld did not write a 9/11 joke the day 9/11 happened.
Did you ever go, this off the wall now, talking about, the Wiley Sunday comics, do you ever go to the comics hang?
Yeah, I try to go to all of them. I had to only show up I showed up at like 6:30 last one because I had the interview I had to do last weekend, but I did show up for the open mic, and then the week before that I was there for that hang.
Yeah, I don't get to go as much as I want, but those are fun too.
It is nice because it's just Don and a couple comedians just kind of snacking on some pops and chips and talking about jokes, and you just get to see. It's just a nice little community of like, hey, if anyone wants to go out and smoke a funny smelling cigarette, or not to that degree, but you know what I mean. Like it's just no one really asks, no one really tells, no one really cares, no one really wants to know because they're just working on jokes, and it's just a little family of clowns, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah, there is a community with the comedians. And
I will say though, there's some bad apples in the community that just treat me terrible for I don't even know why, because I've never even been mean to a comedian to my knowledge.
And I'm going to say this right now, and this is not being trans. I've been very blessed with the acceptance I've had with the comedian family and everywhere I've went. But at the same time, there's a couple of friends of mine that live in other parts of the state that go, I would love to have you on the comedy show, but I don't know if it would be safe for you to be here.
And doesn't that suck to hear?
Yeah.
But that's why I'm like, I think there needs to be some white guy, straight white male, that is so woke-minded about race, about transgenders, about all that stuff. Yeah. He can sneak past the lines of racism, get to the stages, do the sets, and boom, enlighten millions. Because, and I hate to say this, racists can identify races. Because that's all they know how to do. If I slip through the cracks, I'm a white guy. Unless they're really going to bust me for the Jerry curls, I don't really think nothing's really going to happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
Bust for the Jerry curls.
Bust for the Jerry curls. Well, we'll leave you with that thought as we dive into our second culture shock, ladies and gentlemen, and then we'll come back and finish off the show. Enjoy Oh Mama by Run the Jewels. Good song. I love it. I hope you will too.
In the host of it, right in the upholstery, somewhere right close to me, just in case the rollers be rolling on the G. My woman keep it in the hosiery. I'm known in my town and on strips where high rollers be. I'm up early where the money folders sipping Folgers be. A country boy chilling in Brooklyn like Lefty spoke for me.
With us, you with the truth, we speak openly.
Never a rat like Donnie Brasco though, cause they know with me.
Notice me, senpai, they cry when I choke to speak. Set this crooked city on fire to light the smokery. Old timers speak of us hushed and crushed their rosaries. I lust after greatness, I'm aiming right at his ovaries. Better run from the future, Palooka. You acting like it's safe and the revolution's been. There's liars on the loose if we listen to you. We're the takers of the jewels, never singing a tune in.
All soft, all soft, all soft.
My mama said that I'm not living right. She said I'm crying on ya. She said I waited up for you all night. I said I'm trying, mama. My mama said that I'm not living right. She said I'm crying on you. She said I waited up for you all night. I said I'm trying, mama. Mama.
I smoke the holy herb, hell and meditate. Swear to God, so good, fat boy, I levitate. God gifted man, how to try to legislate. Mom, she recover and tell me I over-medicate. I tell her, holy Jesus Christ, give me a break. She says, don't curse your mama and then do a dinner plate. Damn.
I heard it in Brooklyn where all the sinners stay. You running out of ways to go yourself, I will innovate. The skin of your will disintegrate. Every sickening sentence will cheapen them tricks you venerate. Set the phaser to face plate, incinerate. Run the jewels, run with the board, baby, assimilate. My mama said that I'm not living right. She said I'm crying on ya. She said I waited up for you all night. I said I'm trying, mama. My mama said that I'm not living right. She said I'm crying on you. She said I waited up for you all night. I said I'm trying, mama. My mama said that I'm not living right.
They want us die, mama.
My mama said that I'm not living right.
But I ain't crying, mama.
My mama said that I'm not living right.
You raised the line, mama. I ain't lying, mama.
My mama said that I'm not living right. I said I'm trying, mama. trying, mama.
Boom, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed Oh Mama as much as we did. I enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. We were talking about Ohio and music on the break, so we'll continue the banter. I hate Ohio for a lot of reasons. It's depressing. The weather's terrible. I lived in a cornfield, so I had no neighbors, so my social skills I thought were terrible. But really, I guess that produced a social wizard because he just kept practicing his skills to walls with no neighbors to talk to. But I will say Ohio is a central hub for music. So many different paths of so many different musicians walked through this state. I mean, Bob Dylan, Johnny Cash, Wu-Tang Clan, Biggie. I mean, they are all, like, not all, but like a lot of those from New York, from neighbor states. But for some reason, Ohio is such a big hub. It's because of Dayton, Cincinnati, and Columbus, those three central hubs for like entertainment, theaters, and stuff and crap like that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially Cleveland. Like,
yeah. I saw Joe Walsh, before James Gang up at the Agora in Cleveland.
That's awesome. I went to the Agora Theater and saw Ninja Sex Party live, cool. And that was one of the best concerts of my life because opening up for them was Booty Patrol.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never heard of them before, but it was a very funny band, and it was really, honestly, my first experience, besides Weird Al Yankovic, of live music that was also kind of comedy.
Oh, yeah.
And it was bridging that gap of funny. And it was amazing that these guys could play music well and then still make this audience laugh. Because I don't know if anyone has ever tried to tell a speech that's funny at a graduation or anything like that. It's hard to public speech, especially to be funny. Anyone can say anything. But the moment you have to make people laugh, it's way harder all of a sudden. So, I don't know. The fact that they could do that kind of blew me away. And that excited me. Now I play the guitar and piano some. Yeah. And, a piece of me thinks you could, what's her name? Charlie. She plays the ukulele. Kind of bridging that gap, kind of like Bo Burnham does the piano. Bridging that gap of comedy and music. Because really, I love music so much. At some point, those are going to bridge and merge in some kind of finger painting mess of whatever is going to be on stage. But I don't know. I think it's important for comedians to diversify themselves. I think it's stupid for all these guys to keep doing the same thing every week, same jokes. It's not working. No.
1970, I actually took a speech class here at Wright State. I went to Wright State for 3.5 years, back when there was 4 buildings and a lot of pot.
That's amazing.
And Frisbees. And that was funny because I played with bands, garage bands, and maybe that was the difference because I could do that. The most people I've ever been in front of was 2,000 people at this concert they had out off Dog Leg Road, and it was they used to do really crazy things back in the 70s.
Right.
Just throw these parties, BYO, $12, go in, it'd be 15 bands in a night. And that didn't bother me. But I took the speech because I just couldn't. And doing comedy doesn't bother me. But at that point in time, I couldn't say, "Hello, class. How are you doing today? We're going to learn about roller coasters."
Teaching and
then
that kind of thing's hard.
That was kind of without making a joke.
But I think it's all different.
Yeah.
But I think if you're good at comedy and stand-up, you'll eventually be good at those things. Because I also believe that a good stand-up could be a good actor, but a good actor could not be a good stand-up. I don't think I don't think it goes either way, both ways. I think comedy is just one of those things that you sharpen your light, your social skills, your mentality, your ability to pick up on social vibes and energy in rooms and awkwardness and just stuff like that. That's important to survive in a social world because it's no longer just animals and food chain. It's now who's the most entertaining or who catches the most ears or eyes or whatever. You know what I mean?
Here's a good example of what you said. Because Jim Carrey, which we remember from Living Color, starting doing all this stuff. And then one of my most favorite movies was The Mask.
Yes, I love The Mask.
The biggest scene that there was when he sang Cuban Pete.
It's not on Cuban Pete.
It wasn't in there. He wrote that and said, we need to put this in there.
Is that not that?
That would have not been in the movie if he didn't insist and said, well, that's
kind of, you know what? I've got a good one for you, too. I watch a lot of the old interviews from, some of the best comedians, actors, and writers and stuff like that. Because I think that's just, that's good source material for, like-minded individuals. And there's an interview with, what's his name, that was the original Willy Wonka.
Oh, yeah?
What's his name again?
Oh, Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman, yeah.
Not Gene Hackman, excuse me. Oh, darn it, not Gene Hackman.
The Hackman sounds right.
Gene Wilder?
It's John.
Wilder?
See, now, I know I could just easily Google it, but I like struggling.
Oh,
you know what I mean? We'll look it up. Who? Yeah, someone know.
Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder, I think his name was. He was also in Young Frankenstein and.
Yeah, like I love Frankenstein.
And those movies with Richard Pryor. He did a slew of movies with Richard Pryor. Gene Wilder, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, Gene Hackman. No, not Gene Hackman.
That's funny. I just immediately signed off because like that's right. But anyways,
yeah, Gene Wilder.
He fought for that scene of when because they didn't originally want to keep it out in the movie when he first comes out of the factory and he falls. That wasn't in the script.
Oh, okay.
When they first brought the script to him, it's like, we want you to be Willy Wonka. And he's like, what's it going to take? And he said no originally. He said, what's it going to take for you? And he goes, okay, when I first come out of the factory, I want to have a cane. I don't want to stumble and I want to look old. And then I want to fall really dramatically into a spiral to be okay. Because immediately that's going to tell the audience they shouldn't trust me.
Oh, yeah.
And that's crazy to me. Like, that movie changed because of that moment. I remember that. Like, when he fell, I was like, I don't know, is he messing with him? Or like right there, there's already that disillusion of like, is this a good guy or is this a bad guy? What's the point of the factory? Yeah. What's going on? Like, a piece of me was like kind of scared when I first watched Willy Wonka because I was like, is this going to be a horror?
Yeah, and plus he was on acid the entire time he did the movie.
Yeah, that's the
that kind of helped with those little wide eyes.
That helps.
But yeah, no, that was an amazing movie. That was, to me, I loved that one.
I like the conspiracy theories around Willy Wonka because there's a big one that says that Snowpiercer is the secret sequel to Willy Wonka, not the new one with Tim Burton, but the original.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So Snowpiercer is a movie to where the whole globe freezes and there's a train that goes indefinitely around the globe and they all live on that train. And there's a lot. I mean, dude, the evidence is actually kind of crazy. That points.
I'm gonna have to watch the movie now because I haven't seen that movie.
The evidence, and it's on Netflix. There's a crazy amount of evidence that people have pointed out. Like, oh my god, that's her. Like, that's the one girl. Like, all the kids worked for Charlie. He had got the factory. They all grew up. That's them. That's her. That's him. That's the old man from the original scene. Same actor. There's W's everywhere. They press their food into bars, and it's just like the big one is that Willy Wonka liked to use Oompa Loompas as like a fuel source essentially because they did the work and did all the machines.
Yeah.
Now that you're on a train, you don't have the Oompa Loompas, but the whole movie is like children like work the train and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So like that, I mean that right there is enough evidence to be like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
You should watch that movie because the whole time watch it with like this is the sequel and you will have a 10 times better. You'll be like, this is the best movie I've ever seen, almost. Because to me, I'm like, this was one of the best movies only because I had that mentality of like, this is potentially the sequel to Willy Wonka. Because it just added so much more to it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird.
That's cool. I love stuff like that. That's just to look it up. Hey, you see that, and then when you
someone said Blazing Saddles is my favorite Gene Wilder movie. Blazing Saddles says the N-word a lot. One of the best movies I will say ever, but also says the N-word a lot. So there's give and take.
And Mel Brooks,
Mel Brooks does use it well.
Well, Mel Brooks could not make any of his movies today.
I think he could if he put it on the right source because now you could almost label it as something new that a lot of people do like, and it's called like cut tooth comedy or cutthroat, and they'd be like, oh, it's hardcore. And then already with that mentality, they're okay with hearing stuff like that because they're like, remember, this is in the hardcore genre.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But at the other time too. Well, what's this old Jewish guy trying to do using the N-word? Yeah. You know, because, I mean, without going into his backstory and his history of doing wonderful stuff, he came out at the right time, the right era to do this stuff. Because I watched History of the World, Part 2, and the other day, just for fun, I'm going like, I can't believe this is even in this movie.
Yeah.
This would not be in a movie today.
Yeah.
You know, and because... You gotta
see the show always relates back to the N-word, and no matter what I do, it always comes back to the N-word. Ah, bless me, Christ in a basket at an abortion clinic. That's my new. Do you like that? That's my new favorite saying. When I get really upset, it gets longer and longer. Like the more upset I am. So like one time the other day, I hit my foot and I was like, Christ in a basket at an abortion clinic on a hot day. No one's there. It's Saturday. He's really cooking. Oh,
the cable's out.
Is there on him, like really giving it to Christ, the baby in a basket at an abortion clinic. Of
course, the best cusser of all time is Yosemite Sam.
Yeah,
that goes without. And I'm listening to that. And now, if you ever take the time, if we go and you want to go into stuff like that, watch the old Popeye, black and white cartoons from the early 30s.
I have
when
a crazy epiphany with Popeye. Now that you bring it up, I think Popeye, the guy who made Popeye, I think dropped a crazy amount of acid or something, because Popeye, the whole point of Popeye, to break it out in 2 sentences, a sailor who eats spinach and gets stronger.
Oh,
right?
Oh,
Simple
yeah.
enough. Just now, like a couple weeks ago, they had to ban spinach from MLB players starting in the next couple years because they found out that spinach has a natural steroid in it that people didn't know was there for a long time because they just now found the chemical
that's
structure.
outrageous.
You know what I mean? So now I'm like, wait, how did a black and white cartoon know that spinach really did make you like mushroom? People have been woke for all of time. It's just certain people have been woke, not all people. And that's what's crazy to me is that like that little detail slipped through the cracks for years. And think if we would have known that for a year. What if we could have been making artificial steroids and spinach this whole time and had that all that year to focus? That hurts my brain. Hurts.
Popeye is also the Kenny of South Park. Because if you really listen to some of the stuff Kenny says, you're going like, oh my God, if you really...
Terrible.
And the same with, if you take the old ones and slow it down...
That's
really
with any of the old cartoons
Popeye,
before FCCLA really stepped in and did stuff like that. Because at that point, people weren't making cartoons for kids.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
It was just exciting to have a television.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody watched whatever was on. So the cartoon was really just meant for anybody with eyeballs.
Rocky and Bullwinkle, Moose and Squirrel,
I'm gonna say it wrong because I always say Ren and Stimpy. I always say it in the wrong order, but like that adult kind of humor that they brought to an early age, as well as like the Animaniacs. Like my favorite jokes, and I was just telling this to Mrs. Disappointment before I came over to the show. Shout out to my girlfriend, love her, I guess.
Miss D.
Yeah, Miss D.
Play Miss D.
You know what the best part is? Some dude was walking by the show and you did that, and he generally looked behind him as if someone was like, "Oh, me? That was amazing.
This has got us. Drop money era.
God, is that you? You sound like a transgender person.
Yeah.
I don't know what to feel anymore.
What do you mean? Don't sound like a transgender?
But I told her, I was like, my favorite joke from the Animaniacs is that when they're like playing detective and it's like, all right, let's get fingerprints, and then they hold up prints and it's like, I don't want to do that.
Oh yeah,
that's such an adult joke. That's so complex to understand.
Oh yeah,
you have to know who Prince is. You have to know like the difference between fingerprints and fingerprints.
Yeah,
I mean that's a deep level of thought. So for you to even pitch that as a show to children,
I think that's not doing that.
That's a show for everybody. Like that's a good joke. That's my favorite joke from like any
Dot
cartoon.
had that look on her face, like I know what's going on.
She goes, like that. Like you can't make jokes like that anymore, but you can, but it's hard.
Yeah.
But like, oh my goodness, like that's what I miss about old cartoons.
Oh
and, like,
yeah.
Like that's what I think new comedy should bring. It's just like that power of saying one sentence and it potentially having like 4 meanings and then trifling down a 5th path that no one even sees, like the ultimate left turn.
Yeah, instead of saying the F word, you make an innuendo towards that, and that makes their imaginations go, oh my God, because now they have to think about what you're saying. You can say, I'm blankety blank blank blank, but if you do a joke where it kind of leans that way, then their imagination, let them see it in their 3D mind.
Yeah, 100%. And I kind of have a bit like that to where like I'm a white guy and I start talking about the N-word, and then eventually like I almost say it in a story, but instead of saying it, I say nig, and I make like a trumpet sound. I think that's just kind of funny in itself. It's just like the little for some reason, just to use that instead of like, because it kind of sounds, because it has the R and E kind of in it. So I don't know. Maybe I was just a bad person.
Very cool.
Listen, this has been a great show.
I
don't want to end this just yet. I want to give you a chance to plug anything else, say anything you would like to say. Maybe you'd like to make a last...
I'll wait till I go home to plug it.
my!
Stuff like that. Let the people out there listening in Radioville land figure that one out. You know,
which hole?
yeah, and maybe make a 3D sculpture or something. I don't know.
I think you have a good voice for cartoons. I meant to tell you that one point, and I'm going to say
that
that
would be
now.
kind of fun
Because you just have that kind of versatile, high pitch, low pitch, everything in between. I'm sure you've watched plenty of cartoons to like.
I don't
practice.
think you should go to the movies. I want to go to the movies.
Yeah, it's something like that. Like I like to watch Futurama and like mimic those voices.
Yeah.
I like to watch like South Park and mimic those voices. Just like the cartoons. Like my favorite voice to do, and I'll do this because Abby, this is her favorite noise. Have you ever seen the episode of Futurama to where they're trying to get the Twitter war?
Yeah.
And there's the barf goat.
Yeah.
Do you remember the goat, the sound it makes?
Yeah.
I got the. You ready? Close your eyes. I'm about to do it for you. I mean, that's the noise.
Yeah.
It's just taking the time to really like close your eyes, practice the sounds. I think it's a music thing too because I spent so much time collecting records and listening to old music that like I've just trained.
That was stellar.
Thank you so much. If anything, that's what we should end the radio show on Halloween with barf noises. Ladies and gentlemen,
Barf Simpson, folks.
This has been the Disappointing Radio Hour. My guest has been
Holly Shock.
Would you
I
like
hope
to?
you were disappointed as we is.
Oh, that's
Ours.
I'm gonna make that a button. That's amazing. Would you like to tell the audience anything? Last chance. It'll be on Spotify if you want to archive any secret messages.
I'll be at the roadside rest on number 67 mile marker in about 3 hours. If anybody wants to come up, have a good time. Bye bye.
And on that, we will end the show. Ladies and gentlemen, have a happy Halloween, and we will see you next time.